Thank you so much, Marta, and all the European Union and European Commission for a multi-layer support Ukraine gets at the highest political level, but also at the level of the smallest communities in Ukraine, who has not only the feeling, but the very clear ability to feel and see that European Union stands with Ukraine, but also will stand with Ukraine as long as it takes. Speaking about the context of the press conference, when it's on the margins of EU-Ukraine business summit, speaking in business terms, there are like a very clear layers for a investment environment, for a business environment in a country, is the sustainability of institutions, predictability of regulations, and security. Unfortunately, when we are talking about making business in Ukraine, surviving the country's economy throughout the war, and attracting investments, we, first time probably in the newest history, have to merge these discussions with the actual state of war taking place in Ukraine, where the actual massive aggression taking place in Ukraine. And still, on the backdrop of this, we are enjoying the massive financial investment plan mobilized by European Union through Ukraine facility. And Ukraine is joining European Union and have a very dynamic and multi-layer accession process. And also, Ukrainian economy survived through war and develops through war because of multiple instruments enabled Ukraine to survive, which also become possible because of the military assistance, because the air defense capacities we've managed to build and develop also only since the beginning of the full-scale aggression, but also because of defense innovation and the defense capabilities we were managed to develop. And all of these factors cannot be considered individually. All in complex, they present the vision that still it is possible to discuss the investments in Ukraine and to predict and plan the development of economy throughout the war. And I think in the very turbulent global trade war situation and in very turbulent times, there is still a lot of predictability we can grant as a country at war. This is a sustainability of legal framework which is enshrined in Ukraine accession process. Ukraine is taking on a weekly basis its commitment on alignment of Ukrainian legal framework with the EU acquis within the screening process. Ukraine has prepared the roadmaps for transformations in the areas of rule of law and fight against corruption targeted to align Ukraine with the highest possible standards on the membership in European Union. Ukraine is fighting through a massive disinformation and campaigns and propaganda, and also has been subjected to thousands and thousands of cyber attacks to Ukrainian institutions, businesses, and companies throughout the war. But the infrastructures we have built throughout the war, they are probably the most resilient in the world these days. And I think the very factor of having this forum and having all these messages heard from our commissioner, because we are part of your job. Is very important, and I'm really happy that this forum is organized and co-hosted by the Commission and the Polish presidency. It's very important that throughout many turbulences that were caused by the war, we have found the strengths to build our relations closer, to overcome the turbulences bilaterally and multilaterally, and finally, we have found our identity in bringing ourselves back to the family of European nations. Coming back to the messages of needs, of course, we have been able to grant a number of predictabilities, but there are some unpredictabilities which do not depend on Ukraine. And rest assured that Ukraine's commitment to a reliable dialogue with the United States remains solid and sustainable. We are working hard to form a delegation and coordinate our efforts to streamline a successful project on establishment of the reinvestment fund with the United States. Rest assured that this has nothing to do with contradicting the EU accession process, as this is one of the positions Ukraine already outlined in our communication. At the same time, when we are speaking about investment in Ukraine, we don't have to forget that there is a huge contribution Ukraine can provide to European Union and globally. Not speaking only about food security, but also speaking about Ukraine being already very much aligned with the EU sectoral policy and EU internal market. We are really happy to see that the transport liberalization plays its role and helps European internal market and Ukrainian economy boost and develop without any barriers. Ukraine has integrated and were accepted to EU electricity market, which really helped the neighboring member states, but also Ukraine and European Union to survive the most complicated periods of time when the massive shellings covered the territory of Ukraine. We have never forgotten about our neighboring countries who are not the EU member states, like Moldova. We have been trying to survive ourselves, but in the crisis which were happening from time to time, whether it was a gas issues or electricity issues, we have never forgotten that we also responsible for helping our friends and neighbors. So in that regard, Ukraine not only attracts and hopes to attract more opportunities to Ukraine, but Ukraine has a very clear commitment to contribute. And I think that if Ukraine can contribute with the technologies to European Union, you can all undoubtedly confirm that Ukraine is not only defense shield for Europe right now. Ukraine will become a defense power of European Union, and you know that this is the biggest contribution we can propose as a country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Prime Minister. We are there to support you, and we like that your commissioner already does the spirit of all this. Minister Schwabka, can I invite you maybe to be brief so that we can also keep some time for questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marta. Thank you, Olga.